So, this is home. A little spare, don't you think?
Thought I'd have frilly curtains.
Well, now that you mention it. I'm just saying maybe you should consider conserving ammo and installing seats with upholstery. Think about it.
Couldn't hurt to make this bucket a little more livable.
Oh, I can recommend some folks who keep a good selection of before-market parts so as not to strain your budget. We can't all be fabulously wealthy criminal masterminds, but this bounty hunting gig seems straightforward enough. Besides, I like the idea of doing the chasing for a change, even if I am slumming it. Oh, it's good to relax. This is as close as I'm getting to it these days.
Could have fooled me.
Laugh all you want, it's hard work relaxing. I've spent so long keeping one step ahead of somebody, I can't believe I've lost them for good. At least when I'm out with you, I usually know where the blaster fire's coming from. Keeps my mind off trouble. Mostly.
Didn't realize you were having this much trouble adjusting.
Spend 30 years doing what you're doing and you'll know what I'm talking about.
I knew you were a career scoundrel, but 30 years on the run? Pretty impressive.
Things weren't so bad until people finally realized the same guy was responsible for most of their woes. And I've made some enemies over the years, believe me. 2.5 Hutt families, the entire Carillion Exchange. And there was that whole blockade incident that ran the Mandalorians home with their tails between their legs. Come on, I think I've had my fill of all this cheering up. You know, you're pretty quick to sniff out an opportunity for profit.
Flattery won't get whatever you're angling for.
If I were really flattering a gem such as yourself, I wouldn't lead with your business acumen. Oh, I was just making an observation, but now that you mention it... I wonder how much more lucrative our little partnership could be if you applied that intuition to something other than bounty hunting.
I'm not opposed to a little moonlighting.
Can't afford to keep all your chips at the same table, am I right? Let me see if I can come up with something that'll play to your strengths, and I'll trust you to recognize a good opportunity when you see one. I've been thinking it over, and I see a lot of room for improvement maximizing your profits. Take catching me, for example. Sure, you got a nice bounty from the Great Hunt, but why stop there? You just need to use a little imagination.
This have something to do with your duplicate?
Nothing slips past you, now does it? A few words in the right ears, and you could make a lot of money on poor Tiresias's remains, if you don't mind double-crossing crime lords. Offer the body, see who bites, rob them blind. Couldn't be simpler.
Drum up some interest. If the payoff is worth the risk, I'm in.
See, that's the best part about this little partnership. The scams are a lot less risky when you know you can vaporize anyone in the room. So, that suggestion I had involving my duplicate? Turns out there are a lot of folks out there who've still got a bone to pick with the late Tiresias Loci. A little friendly competition couldn't hurt our final take. I'm thinking an auction would do the trick.
I'm open to anything that'll boost our profits.
That's just what I wanted to hear. Give me some time off the ship, and I can handle the whole thing by proxy. The only finger you'll have to lift will be the one accepting your credit transfer.
Try anything cute, and it'll be a 2-for-1 sale.
Cute's not really my style. Besides, I'm still recovering from the last time we crossed each other. I'll be back before you know it. What, no parade? Oh, not even a cake? How about at least mustering a good to see you for the guy holding your share of the credits?
I'd like to see my take before it wanders off.
It's not like it'd be going far. I live here, remember? Your cut. Pretty good take, considering the expenses. The bidders really couldn't wait to take Tiresias off our hands.
What expenses?
Middlemen, venues, security, incentives, everything necessary to ensure a smooth transaction with half the underworld in one place. 3 pirate crews, 10 free traders, 2 exchange bosses, half a dozen Hutts, one I don't even remember crossing. Kept licking his lips. I think his name was Druga. It was quite the rogues gallery. A lot of familiar faces. Brought back memories, let me tell you. Following you around isn't so bad. You visit the most extravagant locales. Oh, I picked up a little souvenir from the Royal Museum. I thought we could make sure these get put to better use.
You're giving me something worth money?
Gesture of good faith and all that. Figured if I'm stuck here, I might as well lighten the mood. Unless we find a collector, we'll need to fence these. Quick turnaround will forfeit a big cut, but it'll be a nice bonus.
I've got better things to do than haggle in pawn shops.
I'll see what I can do. Have I mentioned how much pulling that little con has improved my mood? I think that auction put to bed any lingering doubts that Tiresias is dead and gone. And aside from knowing my new identity on a stick, I'd almost forgotten how much I love a good scheme.
Fun and profit. What's not to like?
Getting shot at, for one, but working with you has made that pretty commonplace. It's hard to work a proper hustle when you're on the run, chum. I've pulled more heists than cons in recent memory. That was the kind of racket my former partner preferred. Simple, bold, effective. Used to argue about that a lot.
You had other preferences.
Armed robbery is one of the few things I enjoy in moderation. My preference is to be long gone by the time anyone gets wise. That's a lot easier without bounty hunters breathing down my neck. It's about time I got back in the game. Can't afford to let myself get out of practice, after all. Let me tell you a little thing about opportunity.
How about you just tell me what you want?
Listen, I met this group of Arcona colonists in Masila while waiting to get off planet. Seems fresh water's hard to come by on Kona. These rubes heard about moisture farming on Tatooine and figured it was their ticket to riches. Fleecing these yokels will be like taking candy from a baby. The key is finding the right scheme.
What are we aiming for?
We need something with a low overhead, something we can keep going for a while. Moisture farmers aren't exactly rolling in credits, but a whole colony of them can add up. Remember those Arcona colonists I was telling you about? Well, I've got the perfect racket to skim a little profit off those moisture farming saps. Salt.
This I have to hear.
I used to know this spacey Arconan bagman back on Nar Shaddaa. Thought the guy was a spice head for the longest time. Turns out I was only half right. This guy's cravings were something else.
Are all Arcona this screwy?
The few I've met haven't exactly instilled me with confidence. One night, after making our handoff in some dive diner, he orders some garbage soup and dumps an entire shaker of salt into the bowl. Should have seen the way this guy went at the stuff before stumbling out of the place like its last call.
Your money's on these colonists having the same craving.
10 to 1 says there's something about salt that those wedgeheads can't resist. We're gonna sell those colonists the answer to all their woes, specially formulated and offered exclusively through Rowing Industries. If I'm right about how much Arcona love the stuff, our biggest problem will be keeping up the supply. Meet our new product. Had our salt shipment bottled as special tablets to help organics retain water. Now we just need to seal the deal. I want you with me when our prospective buyer calls. Keep him from getting too comfortable. We'll be meeting an Arcona named Gruna to convince him to act as our supplier to the colony.
I'll try not to let all the excitement get to me.
You'll change your tune when the credits start rolling in. This chump would do anything for enough credits to get off Tatooine. I don't think it'll take much to get poor Gruna to bite. Gruna, good to hear from you. Looking well. Lose some weight?
Kagriso Efretu Paranai.
Oh, her? Don't worry about her. Had to let my last security detail go in favor of this fine lady. Say hello, my dear.
Hello.
You know, Gruna, I'm a bit of a philanthropist. Did I mention that?
Grojaman.
My visit to Tatooine left me inspired by the plight of rugged folks like yourself trying to squeeze life out of that dust bowl. Making life easier for the little guy, that's my motto. And helping you hardworking souls is now my personal mission.
Sorry, dry air.
So, as I was saying, the top chemists at Rowing Industries developed this little wonder for us. A compound designed to maximize water retention in organic life forms. The benefit to hardworking subsistence farmers such as yourself is immeasurable.
Andravimos pandimas protes cada viteradag. Smarcio populas mana ir padre mana narcali.
That's a better plan for your savings than investing in this garbage. This is lower than I'm willing to sink, Gault.
Mano aliate, bravo mano?
I must be having some kind of flashback. Can't find decent help these days. Just let me handle my associate and we'll finish our business. Snap out of it, buddy. It's Geller Rowing, your boss. Don't mess this up.
We're better than this.
And I thought you might be too ruthless for this business. I can't even begin to express my disappointment.
Kaikaios naba, jotinai roto kad itinas?
Looks like I'm sending you the whole shipment, free of charge. Choke on it. Well, since we both know how sensitive you are about robbing the poor, let me remind you the benefits of robbing the rich. You remember those little trinkets that happened to come into our possession on Alderaan? I managed to sell most of the stuff right back to the nobility at a tidy profit.
How'd you swing that?
It took a little laundering, but the Alderaanians were very eager to outbid the competition. Notice anything different?
You should lay off the junk food.
And they said the stuff was slimming. Just acquired some nice form-fitting blast armor. Thought I'd see if it would stand up to a trained eye. Apparently so, if your observation is any indication.
The equipment I'm providing not cutting it?
No complaints, this is purely supplemental. Since I'm still putting myself in harm's way, I decided to make a little investment in my well-being. Been stocking up on interesting tidbits at every port we've hit. From here on, I'm ready for anything. So, what do you know about Hilo Viz?
I've heard the name. She was some big-time spacer, wasn't she?
You could put it that way if you're partial to understatement. She broke the Mandalorian blockade at the Hydian Way. You know, the one that strangled Coruscant and dashed a full-scale Jedi assault. And it wasn't out of the goodness of her heart, either. Credits were involved. A lot of them.
I like her already.
She was quite the lady. You could say that run was the height of her career, but that's only because she dropped off the scanners not long after. Most think the Hutts were behind Hilo's disappearance, but anyone who knew her could tell you they'd have better odds winning a marathon. No, she's still out there. Somewhere.
Never took you for the type to get starstruck.
What? No, we've got history. Hilo was my old partner. More than that. That blockade run was the last thing we ever did together. Like I said, a lot of credits were involved. When I saw the opportunity, I took off and left Hilo holding the bag. Stupid.
Is that a conscience showing?
I don't know, maybe. It was a dumb move I regret making. Listen, I found out that an old associate from that blockade run is still around and kicking. A mutual acquaintance. I owe Hilo one last visit. If he knows where she's been laying low all this time, I've got to track him down. I caught up with that old associate from the blockade run. Old Quan and I had a nice little chat. He was surprised to see me, to say the least.
He probably thought he was finally rid of you.
We were never that close, not like you and me, so I didn't mind too much having to shoot him. Before I had to end Quan's retirement prematurely, I convinced him to fill me in on some gaps in our history since the blockade run. When the Hutts came looking for their return investment, Hilo Viz smuggled herself off to Republic space with the help of another free trader.
Looks like she got over you quickly enough.
Haha, fat chance. Hilo had better taste in who to be caught dead with. Remember Zale Barrows? She cut a deal with that twerp to hide her on Del Savis. If she's still stuck there, this is my chance to swoop in to the rescue. I've got to go after her.
It seems like you owe her a lot more than that, but it's a start.
If I don't make it, well, thanks. I don't think Tiresias would have ever gotten this opportunity.
When did you get back?
Oh, a little while ago. I wasn't exactly in a talkative mood. My little pipe dream involving Hilo went about as you'd have expected.
I'm here, if you want to get it off your chest.
I'm not exactly used to spilling my guts, but okay. After all these years, I finally caught up with her, and she hadn't changed a bit. I found her on Del Savis in some sort of stasis chamber. It was like I just left.
She wasn't in a forgiving mood.
If she'd had a blaster, she'd have shot me the moment she came to. Lucky for me, she recognized that prison wasn't the place to hash things out. She took off the first chance she got. Hardly the reunion I was looking for, but I got her out of that pit. That counts for something, right?
She'd have been stuck down there forever if you hadn't.
She deserved better than that. Hey, who needs love anyway? Thanks. If you'll excuse me, I need to create a hangover to nurse. You're not gonna believe this. I heard from Hilo. She's willing to take me back if I'm willing to show she means more to me than me. Sent the message certified, credits on delivery. Whew, almost cleaned me out just to have it delivered.
I hope you get her back. She's my kind of lady.
One of a kind. Too bad it took me this long to figure it out. I feel like I'm back in my prime. Not that I'd slipped, I'm just unburdened. I owe you for that, so I thought I'd say it. Don't go making a big deal out of it.
That's going on the record.
I'm gonna hear about this for a while, aren't I? I've gotta hand it to you, you really surprised me. You're not what I would call a conventional partner in crime. But we're really turning out to make quite the team.
That mean I'm stuck with you?
I'm afraid so.